Professor Middlemass, let's start with the point made in that Washington Post piece. Describe the talent and drive that makes Vice President Harris a key part of this reelection campaign.
Well, she is, first of all, talented, and she has been elected at the local, state, and national level. She is not new to politics. She, of course, ran her own presidential election campaign before withdrawing to then be nominated as Biden's vice president. She is an important component is because she is reflective of America. She energizes the voting base of the Democratic Party, Black women, but more importantly is she energizes young voters. And that I think any detraction from her past as a prosecutor is now in the rearview mirror because she now has a record of 30 months or so of being vice president, representing the nation, as you mentioned in your opening, across 17 nations. She's been across the country giving speeches. She energizes crowds, and I think that will translate into a positive outcome in 2024 for the Biden-Harris ticket.
And Professor Greer, Republican presidential candidate Nikki Haley, who's previously called for a competency test for any politician older than 75, said this on Fox News. I'm going to quote, "If you vote for Joe Biden, you really are counting on a President Harris because the idea that he'd make it until 86 years old is not something that I think is likely." What in the entire, Professor Greer, what should the Biden-Harris counter to that messaging be?
Well, yeah, Jonathan, we know that the Republican Party is going to come out with obviously a lot of ageist tactics. It's no surprise from Nikki Haley because she needs to say that to detract from her lack of record. But I think the Biden-Harris administration needs to stick to the facts. Look at all the wins that they've had these past few months, the policies, the money that they've put towards helping Americans, the fact that they are not trying to move this country towards fascism, the fact that they are thinking about the environment or a woman's right to choose and framing it as such, not these, sort of base level pro-life arguments, which is not what it is. Really thinking about education and gun control and all these issues that actually matter to usually 2/3 of Americans. And, the Republican Party right now is out of step with the vast majority of Americans and what they want as far as public opinion and policy. And so when we think about the ageist arguments, we do know that the Republican Party will try and scare their voters essentially to say, if you, deviate from us, you'll essentially be putting a Black woman in charge of this nation. And so the Biden-Harris administration really does need to just stay the course and really think more about policy and the pocketbook issues that they've provided for Americans that will drive them to the polls.
And Professor Middlemass, NBC News is reporting that the White House wants to elevate Harris's work heading into 2024. A person familiar with the conversations inside the White House said, and I want to quote, "They know she is a target and the attacks have always been intense and the ante is going to be upped. So they want to make sure she is on the best possible footing." I was going to ask, how do they do that? But it seems to me that sort of the Times are doing that between the attacks on reproductive rights, the anti-small d Democratic things that are happening in Tennessee and now in Montana, mass shootings. The vice president and the Times are meeting. Is that how they do that?
Quite frankly, it's the Biden-Harris administration and Vice President Harris in particular, just to stay on track. They're doing a fabulous job. They have to just stay on message, but also be prepared for the racist and misogynistic attacks that are bound to increase in frequency, but also in the speed of them. There'll be undercurrents on social media, the national rags, for lack of a better description, will attack her. And so if the Biden-Harris team literally have to be ready for those attacks, but they also, as you mentioned, is they just have to say, and oh, by the way, we are for reproductive rights and we are for LGBTQ plus rights. And we do believe in protecting the environment. And oh, by the way, we also believe in gun control. I mean, it's really as simple as talking about policies that Americans care about, that really matter in the day-to-day lives, and then have the outside of the White House doing those attacks against the GOP. Bring forth up and coming, but also the statesmen of the Democratic Party to make sure that any attacks against Harris in particular are then countered in an effective way.
And Professor Greer, aren't the attacks against Vice President Harris, particularly by Republicans, actually a sign of her strength, because they know if they don't hobble her now, and by now I mean since day one of the administration, that they know how far she can go?
Yeah, I mean, we do also need to be realistic, Jonathan, though. We've never had a Black female governor in this country. We've only had two Black female senators. Kamala Harris was one. There is something in the intersectionality of race and gender when it comes to Black women in leadership that sort of makes certain people apoplectic. I think what the Republican Party most likely will try and do is chip away at Black male voters and try and sort of double down in her time as DA or Attorney General and really exacerbate certain parts of her resume and really not think about the evolution that most politicians have, either moving from the middle to the left or the middle to the right. And I do think, if we get an honest conversation about Kamala Harris, we have seen an evolution of her as a politician into the role of vice president, which has never been defined. Every vice president has a different role, as we've seen, from Dick Cheney to Al Gore and, all the others, Mike Pence. And Joe Biden, who served, Barack Obama sort of loyally for 8 years. So I do think that, part of the attacks that Keisha laid out, will also be to sort of chip away at sort of moderate Democrats, especially Black men specifically, and try and distort her record from her time when she was Attorney General and District Attorney in California.